Hey guys, I decided to come right next door to where I'm at and get something to eat. I just finished up editing yesterday's video, and right now I'm just saving my progress. I thought I had the film rate set to 25 frames per second to get the flickering done out of there. Just so the flickering like inside the 7-Elevens and stuff. But I flipped on the anti-flicker switch on the settings, and it didn't seem to actually change anything. So I went in and manually turned everything to 4K 25 frames per second and stuff like that, just so when I'm saving it, I'm not saving it under the wrong frame rate, and which I was just doing it until I checked it, and so I had to resave my work. Although I don't think it would have made much of a difference, 25 to 30 in saving on the app. But right now it is 1:31 p.m. Like I said, I slept and I was so dog tired yesterday that I slept till 11. It's probably just a combination of being on the boat, being here so early, and then just riding the bike around and doing so much before even midday hit. So I'll get the formalities out of the way. Today is May 18th, and that puts us on day 29 here in Thailand. Cheap bicycle through Thailand. We're hitting the midway point on my visa. So I'm gonna have to plan out how many days I'll be on the islands here. I don't want to spend too much time. I got 3 islands, then back over the mainland. And if I'm planning on doing the clockwise type circle on both of the coasts, the east coast, the west coast, and the east coast, I had to figure that into the equation. I don't know. I'll figure out when I get back to the mainland if that's going to be possible, because I really haven't calced up how many total kilometers that'll be. So anyway, I got right here the pineapple chicken fried rice, and it looks like it's got cashews and everything in it. It was actually only 100 baht, so that comes out to $3. And then I got a coconut. I don't know how much coconut is. I usually don't get these, so I decided it was either that or water or Pepsi, and I've been doing way too many junk foods. It's funny because I do the healthy stuff, like ride the bicycle, all this, and then I'll go in and get Coca-Cola and Cheetos. I mean, and it's funny because I like health food too. I really do. I like vegan food. Not vegan. I like vegetarian food. Vegan has bad cheese. Vegan cheese, it's terrible, man. But I used to eat vegan a lot because I knew that there was no cross-contamination when I was keeping a dietary standard, that all the pans and stuff like this would have never been used for cooking meat before and stuff like this. So actually I used to prefer all the vegan restaurants. I just did not like vegan cheese. I mean, it was terrible. I had tried a vegan pizza once, and it was like, I don't know what they used for the cheese, but it definitely wasn't I think it was man-made cheese. I don't know what it was. But anyway, guys, yeah, it's a little late in the day. I'm gonna get this so I'm all caught up. And then I'm gonna go out exploring. But first things first, I want to get this up, and get this accomplished and use their Wi-Fi. Their Wi-Fi seems really good here. Actually better than on the mainland, which is kind of surprising to me, being on an island and everything. All right, well, that's my update. Don't really have much to say that I can think of right now. I'm gonna eat and be merry. I know I said I wasn't going to do anything until everything was done processing and uploading, but I lied. No, I figured while U-Cut was processing, I can do it in my pocket while I'm walking around. This is a road that's right next to my hostel that goes up and over the hill to the beach on the other side. Hopefully it's not a private beach like the majority of them are. If not all of them are private beaches. Like I said, walk all the way over a hill just to have to pay 50 shekels. Not shekels, 50 baht. Anyway, nice view though. Yeah, and this time I decided just to walk, which I'm kind of glad I did, because with every nice downhill, there's a nice uphill waiting for you to push your bike up. It's a little too steep. Anyway, yeah, I'm just walking. It's funny how, compared to bicycling and walking, since I've done both, with bicycling, you definitely get more distance. You get more detail in distance, but not in depth. So everything to your left and right is whizzing by quicker, so you're not getting the distance, the information, you know, the visual information as much as when you're walking. So, but you're getting it more in a straight line though. So it's not like you're getting less information being on a bicycle. You're perceiving it in a different way. And I only mention this is for like looking at camps. Is it better to look for a camp while you're on a bicycle or walking? Honestly, I think it has to be a combination of both. So the bicycle to give you the distance so you can get an overall feel for the location. But then you need the actual walking around to get the depth, the detail and depth, to actually where you can be, where that's out of sight, out of mind, where people won't just accidentally stumble up on you. So, wow, look at this view. There's the rich people way up on the hill. Give them the bird. I'm just joking. Everybody. Oh, look at this. Yay. Something I can afford. Free. Yeah, here we go. This is my type of resort right here. The pay nothing resort. Oh, garbage can and everything. Yeah, this would be a good spot to camp. I mean, pretty sure these are good. They're not too bad. Hell yeah, this would be a great spot to camp. I know it's right off the road, but who cares? Anyway, guys, I'm just burning up time here. It's my last night here, so I'm gonna start looking. Well, it's my last night that I paid for here. If I want to extend it another night, that's fine. Someone made a comment that this is actually one of the nicer islands out of the three, and I guess that's your definition of what's a nicer island. It's a smaller island, so you got a lot of little people riding around scooters for the first time, which is obvious because they all look like they're about ready to crash at any minute. But hey, we all had to learn somehow, right? We all need to learn what a whiskey throttle is someday. Anyway, yeah, I guess I just keep walking around. My stuff's still going. I don't have a story to tell you. Well, yeah, of course I always have a story, but nothing I can think of off the top of my head. Oh, unless you want to hear about the bear that was on my head. Okay. When I was traveling around in Mount Shasta, Mount Shasta was actually, hang on a sec. There. Mount Shasta was actually one of the routes that a lot of travelers take, because you had like what it's called, like if you go up Mount Shasta higher, There's like Bunny's Flat, which is a free campground and stuff like this. The lake behind you, you had something called the Buddha Hole, which I think they allowed you to stay there for something crazy like almost 6 months or something. I don't quote me, but I remember the ranger coming over and saying, "Hey, do you know whose camp this is?" This at the Buddha Hole, which is on the lake. And the guy was actually at our campsite, but we weren't going to snitch him off. He was sitting right by the fire that we were all around, and we're like, "No, we don't know who that is." She's like, "Well, you're only supposed to be here for like, I don't know, 6 months. He's been here for a lot longer, you know. I guess they want you out by winter or something. Who knows?" Because the winters get there pretty bad. But yeah, people will just post up and live out there. It used to be notorious for being like a skinny dipping hippie hole where everybody hung out, and then they went back to the Shasta City is what we called it. It was just a town though, to get supplies and stuff like that. But I stayed along with the other hobos and stuff along the railroad tracks. This was before I actually was a steel rider, an actual real train hopper. But my friend Lefty Gondola he was actually one of the pioneers, or actually the guy that started what was called the USSR, the United States Steel Riders, which there's gangs of the older generation started gangs that were like the FTRA and stuff like this, the Train Riders of America and stuff like that, or as the kids put it, the Afraid to Ride Alone gang, you know. But you know, it's like they all had a black bandana, and the initiation was you got your bandana peed on, but you'd never wash it, and that was your initiation into the gang and all this stuff, right? This is the stories I was hearing from the other hobos. But Lefty started the USSR just to have a gang that didn't have a flag, and, you know, that wasn't part of the FTRA. But, you know, because by this time the FTRA seemed like it was becoming one of those groups where, like the Harley Davidson, you know, but hey, the FTRA is cool in my book. They're the train riders, man. They're actually the generation right before me. But kinda. I'm right at the tail end of them. But yeah, they're the generation before me. I'm kind of the generation what you call the gutter punks. So it was like the old tramps, you know, it was hobos, tramps, gutter punks, and then the dirty kids. And the dirty kids are kind of the generation right behind me but you know, ones I kicked it with all the time. The dirty kids are cool kids. And they're only called dirty kids because they would ride around in their Carhartts, and then the Carhartts would get dirty with train dirt, you know, and that was a badge of, and they had the dreadlocks, tattoos, piercings, all this, but you know, that looks good. I like that look. I think it's cool. I just can't do it myself right now. But no, I sported the similar look. If you look at some of my videos from the one I just posted, the American Hobo Unleashed, the very first ones when I had all that naughty hair and the overalls and stuff on. But anyway, to get back to the bear, we were all sleeping over by the railroad tracks has this big field, and there's two bears out there. There's a mama bear and a baby cub. Well, the mama ended up getting hit by the cars because there was a freeway here, and I think she was wandering across the freeway probably to go during mating season or something like that to look for a mate. The baby bear, the cub, she was kind of cool with us. We never got close to the cub, but she wasn't like overly aggressive with us because she knew we were like the homeless crowd out there, and you know, we all ate out of the same garbage can, which we literally did. It was the garbage can behind was I think Ray's or something like that. I'll have to look up the name of the store again, but they threw away some good produce, fresh produce. And then they started trying to lock up the garbage can, so the bear was teaching the younger cub how to push the garbage can over the cliffside so you could go through it and eat all the food. And the people at the grocery store started rolling up the, like with chains and stuff. And we're like, no. If the bear doesn't get the food here, the bear's going to look for the food at our camps, right? So we'd always take the chain back off, let the bears eat, you know. And Anyway, the cub got big fast. I didn't realize how fast they grow, and yeah, I was becoming a young adult, and I was sleeping on the trees with two other one other person was a road dog that was traveling with me, and then it was like Lefty was there, and we were under the same tree. So it was me. I think it was Lefty and the road dog I was traveling with. And all of a sudden I started coming to, and I just naturally had an instinct something was, there, right here. And I felt this breathing going on. And I come to, and I just naturally knew there's a big ass head right here, just breathing on me. And I was like, oh crap, that's the bear, right? And it was sniffing me. And I've never had this happen, ever. And it's a weird feeling. My body just froze. I mean, I was like, oh no, there's a bear. What do? I was like, I'll kick, Lefty next to me. I'm in my sleeping bag, kind of. Yeah, I kind of nudge him so he wakes up because I don't want to do sudden movements, and he can scare the bear away, right? But my body had different plans. It was just like, no, you're not going to do that. I'm like, oh crap, I can't move my legs. And then I realized, oh crap, I can't move the rest of my body. My body decided, yeah, you're not going to move at all because I'm not going to allow you to get bit or whatever it was thinking. It just decided to shut down. So me not having control of my body, it was almost like an out of body experience. I kind of like my knowledge almost, my reality kind of like just left and just hovered over my body because I just couldn't move it. So it was like an unreal experience, being conscious, but not being able to move or function your body. You feel like you're just like floating above your body or something. It's a weird feeling. But eventually, I guess the bear kind of moves away, and remember, it's dark, right? And I start to come back like where I feel like I'm starting to gain a little bit. I'm like, am I gaining the movement of my foot again? And I could kind of slowly start moving. I'm like, what the heck was that? Was that a weird dream? Because, like I said, I felt like I was like hovering above my body because I don't know, I guess, I don't know if that's normal or what, but so I kind of sat up, not sure if that whole episode was completely real or not, or if it was like, some type of spooky, weird dream, right? So I kind of sit up and I look over, and there's the bear going through, luckily, which I took our food and put it over by the tree over here. I didn't put it up in the tree like I should have, but there was nothing really in it, some bread and everything else was in cans, so, and he's rummaging through that. So I was like, oh no, I'm going to yell at him so he takes off, right? So I went, ha! But my vocal cords were not ready to start working yet. So yeah, my body started functioning again, but my vocal cords were just not there yet. They're slow to wake up. And I went, hey, hey. I couldn't do nothing. So eventually the bear was like, oh shit, and just took off. And yeah. So I had a bear on top of me, and that was not the first time. That's the first time, but I had another encounter with him later on. Yeah, and that was a weird experience. But then telling the other hobos about that story, that wasn't unnormal. That wasn't like it happened to him. One of the guys was like, "Oh yeah, that was me. I cooked up some bacon and stuff, and I didn't clean out the pan, and the pan was right next to me. And he was over the top of me, licking out the pan." And I was like, whoa, weren't you scared? And he goes, I just figured he'd finish and leave. And I'm like, oh, great. But yeah, that was an awesome bear. We were all sad that when his mom died, we really were, because we got, it was like the bear. It was like we were all sharing the same field. It was like the main town here. There was town here, the freeway here, the train track over here. And this was just a field that we all kind of shared. Fires department didn't like us there just because they used it for training and putting out, fires and stuff that, practice fires and stuff. They didn't care for us to be back there, but we did anyway. We just, it's just we didn't set up any big camps there. We usually found different areas to camp. And there's plenty of other spots out there to camp. So there was just the one spot they didn't want us really. But it was also the one spot that was easiest to camp. So, yeah, guys, okay, there's a story. That's a long-ass story. That was the time the bear was on top of my head. I almost kicked him in the butt. Later on down the line, when I was actually walking down, going by Braille, I didn't have a flashlight on me, so I was just following the blackberry line. And there was no moon out, so it was pitch black. And I was like, well, I can do this by Braille, right? And I was just following the blackberry line. Well, he was there eating the blackberries, and since he's black and I didn't see him and he's not paying attention, he's too busy with them sweet berries, I got right up onto him and almost brushed him before he noticed. All I knew is all the bushes here just went boom, and there was like a tree about, that big, and it went crack, and he went right through it, just bam, and it went over, and he went straight, kept going through the blackberry bush, and I'm like, I'm not camping here tonight. I'm going back over the railroads. so I let him have his field back, and I should have known better than to set up my camp out in his field. So, yeah, but that was fine. He was a naughty and aggressive bear. The most you're ever going to see of a black bear is his ass while he's running away from you. Grizzlies now, that's a different story. Stay away from grizzlies. They're not nice. Okay, guys. Peace. There's my hobo rambling for the day. It's kind of a long one. Well, I just kept walking and and the road just kind of kept going uphill. And now I'm on, I don't know, I think this is an access road for the power line. I'm not picking up much on Google Maps of what this actually is. It is non-existent from Google Maps, so I'm more curious than anything. Just seeing where this goes. It's a little hot, but maybe this will. I mean, there are some scooter tracks on this, not much, but yeah, like here's a pretty fresh one. This one's fresh, so it's still being used for what I don't know. Anyway, I'm just gonna follow it for a bit, see where it ends out. It just keeps going up though. I think I came to the end of the line. This is where the road ends. So, unless it goes down that way. Let's see where it goes this way.
I made it out back to a main road. And back at my hostel.
So I'm down back here, down at the piers here. I came down to find out what the price of the ticket would be. To figure out what the price of the ticket would be actually to go in to the next island on the route, right? And the ticket's not a bad price, but they want 500 baht for the bicycle, where to get here it was only 150 baht. And I tried to tell them that. I was like, how can it be that, how can it be 500? That's for you guys trying to figure that out. That's $15 to bring my bicycle from this island over to Koh Phangan or something like that. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. It's kind of pissed me off. So I'm trying to figure out a cheaper route of doing it, because this could get really costly. Doing $15 and the next island another $15, and it'd be cheaper just to go back, to Champhan. So right now I'm stuck in this dilemma, and they're like super rude over there anyway. So I don't know. I don't know how many different ferries go back and forth. There's that language barrier, so it's hard to figure out if there's any night ferries that go that way. So I'm just trying to figure it out right now. So. Okay, I found a cheaper option. These people here at the ticket office were actually nice. She said, yeah, the other service likes to charge 500, so I guess that is normal. They weren't trying to take me for a ride. But she says this other company leaves at 9:30 tomorrow morning. She says they only charge 200. So yeah, these people are great. So normally I try and avoid the ticket offices just because, I don't know, naturally you'd think they would charge you more, but it seems like they can always give you the better options. So I think I need to stop being so hard on ticket people that sell tickets. But I think a few of us actually do that. So she says the pairs actually, not this one, but the next one down. So I'm just saying if I could actually see it from here. So yeah, you can kind of see it right through. Not this one here, but the next one over. That's the one I'm going to be going to tomorrow. So yeah, the office that I first went into is right there. They were like super rude. She says 500, but for you, I'll charge 600. I'm like, that's just rude to say right off the bat. And yeah, I wasn't being an a-hole or nothing. So anyway, guys, yeah, so that's the plan. I'm gonna go ahead and jump to another island tomorrow. This was a nice little island, and believe it or not, the Nitro, the one I kind of gave a hard time to yesterday, because that's the Nitro. They're not a bad option, because there's a beautiful little beach right here, and they're right in the downtown area. But downtown's a given type thing around here, because there's a downtown here, and then there's kind of like a downtown where I'm at, and all these things. So all right, guys, it's just going to be 700 baht total. 500 for the ticket, which is $15, and 200 for my bicycle, which is an extra $6. Grand total is 21 bucks for tomorrow. Bye. To give you a little perspective where we're at, this is where I was filming yesterday with like the electrical storm in the back, and the lights for the blinking lights off the boats that are out here. This is the beach I actually filmed in the morning. They're actually sitting on the little area that I was going to sleep on last night, which I never did. And then this peak out here is actually the one I went out to. So that neat like resort out in the middle of nowhere is out this way. And there's like the beautiful street that I was going on to get there, like the almost like a sidewalk that went through town. Actually goes behind all this right here and straight down this way. So this is one of the nicest rides from, actually, if you just go literally right out here and turn left, it'll take you all the way down to the peak out here. So they kind of get an idea of what I was filming. And so that's why I said, you know, if you're actually at the Nitro Hostel right there, you don't have, you just go out your front door and you actually, you don't have to go anywhere. You know, where everybody else is taking taxis everywhere out here. And I think the best idea for this, like, I think most islands in general, is just rent a semi-automatic scooter, because you know they handle the hills a little better, and just explore the whole island quickly that way. And if I would stay another night, that's what I would do. I just go, because the bicycle's great and stuff, but these islands have mountains or hills everywhere, small mountains, you know. So anyway, yeah, it's a nice little location, and $7 is not a lot to pay at the Nitro Hostel.